Yay Media Group.
But it makes Christmas shopping way more exciting when you're going in Toys R Us because it's like, I need to get this. And what if that's sold out? And that's like Christmas instead of just ordering it online and it being delivered to your door.
It's like Kevin McAllister going to Duncan's toy chest.
In New York? Is that in New York City?
Yeah, but it's not real.
Hey guys, episode 84. I dropped my kids off at school today and I went straight to the doctor and got my stitches out. They feel itchy, but it feels good that they're gone because now I feel like I can actually smile.
Yeah, when it gets to that point, I usually just take them out myself.
Oof.
Because I don't like all that stuff, but I do like the feeling of when the stitches come out.
You told me it wasn't going to hurt. It kind of hurt.
They just clip and pull it. It feels good.
No, it like here, I was just like breathing in. It kind of hurt.
I think you work yourself up.
No, this is so sensitive right here.
I know, but doesn't it feel good to get those out of there?
I'm sure if it was on my knee or something, it would feel good. But right here by my nostril, it didn't feel amazing. So
Jordan obviously had stitches. That's what we're talking about. And the other day, I was downstairs watching football and I hear all this yelling upstairs. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like bedtime. So Jordan's like, you come up here and get these kids right now. And I'm like, Lawson, come in my room and we'll watch the end of the football game. And he's like, I can't believe mommy called you and told on me. She ratted me out. She goes, that's why she has stitches. Because he knows the phrase. I don't know how he knows it, but snitches get stitches. And he goes, I can't believe she called and told on me. That's why she has stitches. And I started cracking up. I'm like, all right, buddy, you're tired. Let's just go to bed.
Because Lawson does that when he gets so tired. And I've said this before. He wants to fight with me. And I was so calm the whole time. And I'm like, Lawson, do you want a hug? I was like, do you want me to tuck you in? Do you want me to read to you? But when he gets to this certain point of tired, there is no talking to him at all. And all he wants to do is pick a fight with me the entire time. And so I started losing my cool. So I called Jeff because he was downstairs watching football. And I'm like, Lawson just does better with Jeff and you can always calm him down. And so I called Jeff and I was like, get up here. I was like, I'm about to lose my temper and you handle him because Leighton already was asleep. But it's like every single night I am fighting with these kids about bedtime. Other friends that I talk to with their kids, they're like, oh, their kids are in bed by like 8 o'clock. I try to stay on a schedule and have them in bed by like 8:30. And still they want to fight with me every time about bedtime. It's just like, I don't understand why it's so chaotic in our house with bedtime.
They're just pushing to see how far they could push you.
Well, you can start doing bedtime then because I get tired of it. I get tired of fighting with them all the time about it. But yes, it was funny what Lawson said because the next day Jeff told me because when I told Lawson, I said, listen, if you don't stop, I'm going to call your dad and your dad can deal with you because I don't want to deal with you. And I was like, I'm getting mad. And he just kept pushing me to my limit. And he was like, what? Now you're calling dad? Oh, you're he kept calling me like a snitch.
That's why you got stitches. But anyways, that was a funny story. So today is Monday. Halloween has passed. We are actually filming this on Wednesday. Halloween is tomorrow for us, but it's already passed. But the day after Halloween in our house, as everybody knows, or maybe they don't, we start Christmas November 1st.
November 1st. If y'all follow my Instagram, I went to Sam's Club with my dad because when Big Sexy comes in town, we don't have enough waters. We don't have enough snacks. We don't have enough whatever. So he needs to pick up extras for Big Sexy. And then they had, it was like a dream. All this Christmas out at Sam's Club. I didn't go to Costco, so I don't know what Costco has.
The election season is coming up too. We're not talking politics, but it's almost like Democrats and Republicans. Are you a Sam's Club person or are you a Costco person? Because I'm sticking with my party and my party's Costco.
You know, I never go to Sam's ever because we're not members at Sam's Club. I only go when my dad comes here because he loves Sam's Club because there's no Costco near him. And I kind of liked Sam's Club.
See?
I did. I really like their decorations. Not hating on Costco. Costco always has good deals, but I really liked, they had great Halloween costumes. I almost bought you, Mark, and the neighbors, because they were cheap sweatshirts, and they were Santa Claus cheersing Modelo. It was Modelo, Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, and there were different ones. So I was going to get Mark one, you one, because I thought it would be funny, and I was going to grab Lisa, my friend Lisa one.
Your thoughts were there, but you didn't follow through.
I didn't. I had them in my cart. And then I was like, is everybody really going to wear these, or is it just going to be a waste? And then all I kept thinking about was you being like, you really bought these and I don't have a job and you're buying Santa Claus beer sweatshirts, you know? Well, listen. So that's what I was thinking. And, but instead of the sweatshirts, I put this cheap sweatshirts back and I spent like $160 and bought a 6-foot snowman. And I'm going to put that out. And then I have another one. I love this. It reminds me, I don't know, it just reminds me of like the Santa Claus movies, something you would see in the North Pole. And it's a huge countdown to Christmas. And it's like, I'm going to put it on the front, like in the front of our driveway.
You
on
got
the
that
side.
Too?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well,
because me and the guy were talking at Sam's Club, and I was like, I need to buy this one too.
Here's the problem. I don't have Sam's Club, so you can't go back there unless you find a trader of Costco.
No. I already talked to the guy at Sam's Club. I was like, listen, I need this. He goes, we're out. I go, you're already out? It's not even Christmas yet. And he goes, yeah, we're out. And so I was like, okay, I want this and I want that. And I was like, he goes, you got to get online and order it. And I go, but I'm not a member. My dad is. And he was like, you can still, if your dad's with you and you got your Sam's card, you can order.
Oh, you can just punch in his number.
So...
Oh, gotcha. Well,
we're
anyways,
gonna have it.
So it's, like I said, it's Monday. Christmas is in full swing in our house, at least on the inside. The outside, I'm not sure yet. I'm not. Countdown to Christmas in November, that might be a little.
Well, it already has the countdown. It's like, it says 60 days till Christmas. It just gets me so excited. And since I've been doing this, the kids love it. Leighton loves it. And his kindergarten teacher was like, oh, he's really going to love me because I put elves. She does Elf on the Shelf, and Leighton is still upset. I'm trying to soak it all in because next year, I feel like Lawson's already borderline, like I'm too cool. And like he's more so asking for clothes and not like toys, like Santa. But Leighton, just loves it and gets excited. So I'm just trying to like soak it all in while they're still young. And it's going to be fun because once they get a certain age, they're not gonna enjoy it. But me and Jeff were having this conversation and we were talking about, remember before Amazon and before, I feel like this was before Target got big, because Target isn't exciting because you go to Target for everything. You go to Target for clothes, for lotion, whatever you need, right?
Yeah.
Toys R Us. There's nothing like Toys R Us. I can still remember in 1990 moving to Charlotte, North Carolina with my family, and on Independence Boulevard, there was a Toys R Us. It was huge, and we were all sad. I remember that we left our house when we left Louisiana, and my parents lived in Baton Rouge, and I remember my parents, to cheer us up, took us to Toys R Us, and there's nothing like that.
Well, it's like being at the North Pole. I remember that feeling when you were a kid, right?
Yes.
Because you get the magazine, you're not online, obviously. You get the magazine and you circle things that you want Santa to bring you. And then you go to Toys R Us and it's all there. And it's like, you're a little kid, you're small,
yes,
and you're in this store that's larger than life. And you're like just looking around, and all these things that you saw on that paper came to life. And it's like, I just remember that magical feeling of being there and like, oh my gosh, you want to play with everything, and every aisle is something else. And you get lost. I'd always get lost, and my parents couldn't find me. And I'd always be,
by the balls
were the big rack of like bouncy balls. my parents, they said since I could barely walk, I would disappear. And every time they found me, I'd buy that big cage of balls, just like throwing them around. But I still kind of remember that feeling of just being a kid and nothing else mattered. But
and you wanted everything. I would go to the pink aisle and everything was pink, and I loved Barbies and dolls. And I do remember this doll that I picked out. I still remember that. And this was so long ago. But even too, as an adult, it's like my cousins are, they're in their 20s now. But I remember my aunt, when I was home for Christmas, would be like, oh, we got to go get these items. And we would drive to Evansville, Indiana, because my mom's family lives like way out in the country, and that's like the closest place to them. And we would drive out there. And I remember being in my 20s, going with my aunt, I wasn't in my 20s. I think I was in high school. No, I was in high school maybe. No, I was in my 20s, I think. And going and Toys R Us and just looking for her kids and being like, oh, these toys are cool, because you're older and you don't really know what's in with the kids. Yeah. And then just like being there, and you're still excited in your 20s.
No, and I know, I thought Toys R Us went under, but I think they're making a comeback. They're
I hope so.
In Macy's and things, and I think they're trying to make that comeback.
But it makes Christmas shopping way more exciting when you're going in Toys R Us, because it's like, I need to get this. And what if that's sold out? It's like a game. And then you're rushing to get there. And that's like Christmas, instead of just ordering it online and it being delivered to your door.
It's like Kevin McAllister going to Duncan's toy chest.
In New York? Is that in New York City?
Yeah, but it's not real.
I know, but I wish it was.
I know, that's what I'm. That. But didn't that place look magical?
Oh,
that was a Home Alone reference for everyone who didn't get that.
Y'all, on Home Alone, when the whole family.
Well, let's take a quick break before we get into Home Alone.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? We have exciting news. We are going to be doing a live podcast. We're going to have tons of giveaways and hopefully no technical problems this time. So we're going to get that coming to you November 20th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. You guys got to figure that out. I think it's 7 o'clock East Coast. 4 p.m. on the West Coast. Yeah.
We can't wait to see you guys. And I'm so excited for you all to get these prizes, a chance to win these prizes. And it's just a thank you to all of you for supporting us. And along with our journey here.
We'll see you guys November 20th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Bye.
You're such a
All right, welcome back. So you were speaking of Home Alone and holidays?
Okay, when I saw that movie, I wanted to so bad stay in a hotel for Christmas and have all those presents. Remember when it's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York?
Yeah.
And they're in the penthouse?
Yeah.
And then Kevin was like just ordering all that food and ice cream. As a kid, I remember watching that, being like, I want to stay in a hotel and I want to wake up to a Christmas tree like that. And then as an adult, you realize, yeah, no, that's never going to happen.
And
you're like, what did Kevin's dad do where he could afford to take the whole family to Paris?
There's so many questions out there.
I know. You think about that stuff as an adult.
Yeah. And if you think, right now, if you lost your kid 2 years in a row on Christmas, child services wouldn't be involved.
Yeah, exactly.
While everything's getting, but anyways, well, holidays are in full swing. I don't know what you guys do. If you wait till after Thanksgiving, and I love how it is politics. It's that's politics too. Besides the Costco and Sam's Club thing, it's Halloween. People get very defensive. They're like, you start November 1st. I'm like, yeah. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good when I come home and the Christmas tree's on and I'm relaxing and I'm kind of in a tough spot mentally with losing my job, but it makes me feel good. And everyone's like, so you just skip Thanksgiving? I'm like, no, we don't skip Thanksgiving.
I still leave the gift thanks and all like the decorations.
And
it's kind of Christmas / Thanksgiving, but more Christmas.
I didn't know people were so pro Thanksgiving that you couldn't have a Christmas
tree. Well, in the
there.
Dining room where we eat for Thanksgiving, that's where I leave more of the Thanksgiving stuff around.
And speaking of Christmas and things like that, I was just cutting together a reel for me and Jordan. I'm pitching out every single thing I can. So I cut together what's called like a sizzle reel or highlight reel for me and Jordan, and I had to go over some old stuff. And wow, we were young when we met, but it reminded me of when we were in Germany on the Amazing Race. and they had everything up during Christmas, but we were there in November, right?
Yes.
No, we had
Thanksgiving.
We had Thanksgiving in the hotel before we started filming.
So it was December when we were there.
It was, but we were in Germany and it was all Christmased out.
You guys, I wanted to stop racing. There was a festival going on. Everybody had wagons, was carrying wagons with drink. There was just so much going on. It was cold. It was magical. Everything was decorated. Everybody was so nice and friendly. And remember, I told you, I was like, I want to do what they're doing. I don't want to do this.
Which is insane because you could have won $1 million and went right back there and had a way better time. But Jordan gave up on it.
It was Hamburg, Germany, where we were.
Yeah, but we did. So I'm putting together this reel and I'm going back to like when we first got off of Big Brother and I was like, wow, were we young? And like
your
just
hair
our
was
answers,
black.
Our answers with Julie, you could tell like we're a little
nervous,
tense, and like kind of just mind blown of the whole situation because you're in that house and you don't talk to anybody. Then at that time, they have it back now after COVID, but they had stadium seating for you when you came out and won.
And it's not even like that now.
No, it's just
I haven't watched Big Brother in a couple years, but from what I did watch, it's like depressing.
No, it's back now. It's
it
back
is.
Not the stadium seating, but it's live audience.
I like the stadium seating.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
I can't believe how they did that.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
That studio's so small and it looked like so many people.
Yeah, and then right after that, we did The Amazing Race, and you could tell even in those pre-interviews, we're in Waxhaw, North Carolina, and we're kind of stiff too, like on our answers. It's just weird. But then we did win. People don't know. We won the first leg of that season.
In Santiago, Chile. We worked really well together.
Yeah.
This is behind the scenes. I'll share this. I'm not going to go in detail, but I was so nervous and worked up just about racing. Like I just felt jittery, almost like when you feel like if you're having anxiety, but I didn't know anxiety then. Right. So we are flying and we land in Santiago, Chile, and everybody just starts getting up and there's a crew. We were not only our cast, you have the camera guys, you have the sound guys.
Each team has 2 camera people with them. 1 sound guy, 1 camera guy.
Right. Producers.
And you can't get more than 15 yards away from them.
Right.
That's the rule for every team. Right. And they switch every leg of the race, just a little behind it.
And those guys that carry those cameras are not light.
Back then, they were not.
No, I don't know how it is now, but when we were on, they were these big, thick cameras and running uphill. I have no idea how those guys did it.
They were animals.
And everybody was just really cool. But anyways, we land and we are in Santiago, Chile in the airport. And I'm like, Jeff, my stomach is like hurting. I was like, everybody is taking off. And you're like, I need
running
to go
through the airport, you meant. Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. And Jeff's like, we got to go. I'm like, no, Jeff, I have to go to the bathroom. And are you serious right now?
So everyone's running through customs because you still have to go through customs and things like that. And Jordan's in the bathroom.
Yes.
And we're racing for $1 million.
So I had to go to the bathroom and I just felt like I wanted to vomit. My stomach was upset. It was just like all these nerves. Anyways, do that. We go and people are leaving the airport in their cabs. And then I remember feeling already defeated, like, oh my God, everybody's already gone and I caused us to lose this. And this is our first stop. And then as you continue to go, it's like you never know, like you cannot give up on that show because you never know. Somebody's cab could take them the wrong way. There's so many crazy things that can happen. It's like you cannot lose hope. And that leg of the race, we came in first and we started off really bad on that leg, but we didn't give up. And I don't know if we've ever shared this. We probably have because it's a funny story. Another, a father-daughter that, what was it? Allie and Steve. Right. They were so sweet.
At the time.
Great people. And one of the challenges we had to do was paint a wall.
That was the final thing. So we had to find a house and whatever our color was associated. I have to go back and watch that because I've never went back and watched that again. But you had to find a house that was with the paint that you grab, something like that. Bring your ladder and then paint the rest of that house. So each, team essentially had to finish painting a house before they could move on. That was the challenge.
So Allie and Steve, wasn't it them? They were painting someone else's house.
So there was actually, in Santiago, there was actually workers painting a house.
That's serious.
Similar to the color that they had. And there was the language barrier, obviously. They didn't speak English. And I think Steve... maybe this fish is getting bigger, but I think I remember that they were drinking beers and Steve had a beer and was painting the house with them. And it was it was someone's legit house. It had nothing to do with the Amazing Race. And he was painting it with them. And it was not the right house.
I think after they were waiting for their clue, because once you're done, and everybody's like, what's going on?
I don't know if we're remembering that exactly right, because we weren't there. It's when we heard this story after, or then I think we did watch it back at one point.
Because Jeff, where everybody's kind of near each other, and Jeff goes, nothing's easy. You got to go up to the top.
You remember that?
I do remember that. And you and I just started running up to the top, and that's how we found.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how we found it.
Yeah, that's right. But
it's while you're racing, it's always, should we stay with the pack or should we not? Should we break away? And those are things that, again, it's all luck how it happens.
Well, listen, here's a little tip for people if they're going to do the Amazing Race. Stay with the pack. I did not. I thought because of that first leg, I broke away and we won. So the rest of the race, I had in my mind, we're going to do our own thing. But looking back, I was wrong. So if you're ever on Amazing Race, stay with the pack, especially in the first 75% of it.
I don't think so, because it's because it's been so long. I don't even watch this show.
We're friends with two different people that won the Amazing Race. So maybe we should talk to them about it.
Well, I think if I wasn't with you and you raced with them, you would have done really, really well, because Amazing Race just wasn't my thing. It just wasn't my, I don't know. The only reason I did Amazing Race was because I never left the country before and I wanted to see what it was like.
It was fun, but all that kind of circling back when I was putting together that highlight reel, I just pulled up all these old videos, and sometimes
we have the Amazing Race, the strip. I don't know if it was the detour one, but you're supposed to give all those back, and we stole ours and hid it in the pocket.
Envelope.
Yeah, we still have the envelope.
Yeah, I wanted to keep one because they search your bags and they take everything out of there. And we snuck it in so we'd have a souvenir.
If I were to do Amazing Race again, which I would never, but if I were to do it again, I packed way too much. I would have only packed I'm not even joking. I would only pack 3 outfits and just rotated them for a month. And just because you stay in hotels and we would wash our clothes in the bathtub.
I threw away half of my stuff.
Yeah. And then shoes. Yeah. I thought I needed hiking shoes and I needed tennis shoes. I should have just wore tennis shoes the whole time. I don't know why I thought I needed hiking shoes to make me better. I just needed tennis shoes, and my bag was way too heavy. And I would have.
Which I was carrying the whole time.
Not the whole time.
And we would have sprung for watches that were better than
I remember Jeff.
$10.
We were dating. You were in Chicago. I was still in Charlotte. And Jeff's like, I just worked out. I just ran. Are you preparing for the Amazing Race? Because we knew we were going to be on. I was like, oh yeah. And I just had sat down and ate like a roast and potatoes with my family. And you're like, okay, just make sure you're like preparing yourself. You're like running, working out, getting used to it. I'm like, yeah, I am. No.
Yeah, we didn't fare so good. But anyways, it's fun looking back at the old videos that putting together and how much we did. Like I forgot how much we did. I forgot how much we've done. Just like when I go back and do things like that, there's so much content and video out there. I'm like, my God, I forgot about half of this stuff.
Well, I feel like what we did in my 20s, your 30s is like what people do when their kids are grown, and then you just start traveling and seeing the world and doing things. I felt like we did it backwards. Like we traveled, like my friends were in college or graduating college, just starting off with their careers. Your friends are a little bit older than me. So, I mean, they were having their families, just starting out with their families and little ones. And then I feel like we did it differently. We were just traveling then in our 30s.
Let's take a quick
20s
break.
and 30s.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Yeah, I felt like we just traveled so much and saw everything. And now we don't ever go out of town, but it's fine because our kids are at those ages.
What are you talking about? We just went to Mexico.
All right. Let's see. Okay. We are going to start Dear Krabby. We're going to keep it at Dear Krabby. Yes.
But thank you guys for writing in, because we try to squeeze these in at the end of the pod and get your name out there a little bit. And for all the people that take the time to write it in, we really appreciate it. So if you guys want to write in questions, go to TogetherMessPod@gmail.com, and you could write in those questions and maybe we'll pop yours on the air and Krabby will answer some. And I guess that's me today. You got one?
I'm reading which one to pick. Hang on.
Okay. So in the meantime, I guess I'll just talk to myself.
This is from Sylvia. If you didn't meet each other on Big Brother, where do you think you would be today? Doing what job, married, single, living in what state, children? For me, first time going on Big Brother was my first time ever going to the West Coast. I never left North Carolina. I just stayed in my bubble. So most likely, if we didn't meet on BB, I would probably be in North Carolina or probably living in like Wilmington, North Carolina, because I always wanted to live there. I never pictured myself really getting married. So probably not married. And I would probably be working at a hair salon. That's what I think. Not much different.
You never know. I always think fate has a plan. I always think everything's written in the stars for you. That's me being naive and a dreamer. But
I know, but if this is a question,
I know. But if I don't know where I would be, because I always wanted to get into this business, which I ended up in, but it's hard to get in there. And to be perfectly honest, being on reality TV catapulted me into that business, and doing Big Brother got me to do Around the World for free, where I learned everything about editing and producing and filming and lighting. And it was like my university, like my school, when I did that Around the World for free. So had I not been on Big Brother, I probably wouldn't have done that. And getting my foot in the door in the business, I probably would have tried acting a little bit more. I don't know if I would have eventually went back to California or stayed in Chicago. So I don't know. I have no idea where I would be if we hadn't met. I have no idea.
I don't either. Okay, next one. Hello, this is from Veronica. Hello, Jeff and Jordan. First off, I love your podcast. You guys are so real and down to earth. I'm truly jealous of all the neighbors you talk about because I want to live in your neighborhood and be y'all's best friends too. We can be best friends for Veronica. All kidding aside, I do have a few questions and need some advice. We have a 15-month-old little boy, and we recently found out we are pregnant with baby number 2. Congratulations. That's awesome. How was the transition from 1 to 2 kids?
Wow, you're pretty much exactly like us. So our boys are 23 months apart, and by the time you have the baby, you're going to be pretty much similar.
Yeah, with Leighton, so with Lawson being our first, it was a much more harder transition, I felt like, because both of us had no idea what we were doing. Both of us, our friends, none of our friends had kids, the ones in California. Your friends in Chicago all had families, but in California, no one had kids. So that was a little bit harder of a transition. When Leighton came, I was way more prepared and very confident in what I was doing. With Lawson, I was second guessing everything. I was calling my sister or my mom or friends back in North Carolina that had kids and asking questions because I didn't know what was right. And with Lawson too, when people would be like, oh, you're giving your kids your formula feeding them, like they acted like they were giving your kids poison, and I couldn't breastfeed anymore, and I wasn't supplying. It would take me 40 minutes to pump, and to get milk. And I felt so defeated and depressed. And then after I had Leighton, I'm like, I'm formula feeding my kid. I breastfed him for, I think, a couple weeks. And then after that, we switched to formula and I didn't feel guilty. I was better with bedtime routines. It was better. Honestly, it was almost easier with 2 than it was 1.
You're more confident in your choices.
Yeah.
Your first child, you have no idea what's right or what's wrong, and the consequences are severe. It's a little baby. It's not like taking care of a puppy or, I don't know, similar. But yeah, it's just the consequences are so harsh if you get it wrong. And that's why the first one, I remember just a quick example is like being in the hospital. I didn't leave Lawson side 1 second. I didn't sleep 1 second.
When the nurses come in to take him.
I went everywhere to me. I had to get his shots or get this or get that. I was everywhere. Just 23 months later with Leighton, they're like, hey, do you mind if we take him and give him his shots and wash him up? I'm like, please keep him over there. And I'd like go back to sleep. So just having one kid, you kind of let go a little bit and learn like, hey, I'm their parents. I made some decisions already. It's good. But for us, like you said, the boys are, even though they fight all the time, I think they love each other and they're going to have each other for the rest of their lives. Yeah, and they have
that bond. And what I like too is that they're so close. Their friends are all the same. And they all hang out with each other.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And then, hang on, there was another part to her questions.
Veronica's?
Yeah, to Veronica's.
You play that song by LFO? Veronica's the song that's in my head. You know that song?
I don't think so.
She's the only girl for me. Reminds me of a West Side Story.
Oh, I know that song. Oh my gosh.
Veronica. That's for you, Veronica. I love that LFO.
Okay, Jordan, do you have any advice for the anxious, nervous feelings of doing pregnancy and delivery all over again? Since your boys are 2 years apart, what are some pros and cons of the age gap? We kind of talked about that. Yeah. Okay, so for pregnancy and delivery, oh my goodness, my second one. So with Lawson, C-section, Leighton was a vaginal birth. And I kept telling the doctor, I want a vaginal birth. I don't want another C-section if I don't have to have a C-section. So they kept trying to tell me that we were going to have a C-section. And I was like, no, if he's head down, I don't understand why we have to do a C-section. And they were like, okay, well, you can try, but it might not happen. And then we have to do emergency C-section. And so I was like, that's fine. So it was the easiest.
But you're missing why we chose that. Remember Chin Chin from my work?
Yeah, you can explain that.
Yeah, so Chin Chin, this editor from Daily Blast Live when I worked there, her mom
is like one of the top
but she's in pediatrics, right? So
yeah.
I don't know.
She's got to be the gynecologist because if she's delivering
surgeon, she's like at the top. Whatever. I don't know the exact name of what she did, but she was telling me you do not get that C-section. Like it's worse for your wife because they're putting her on this medication, and if you're on that medication, you're going to bleed more. Remember?
We forgot that part out.
Your health really came into it, and it got me nervous. And she was so adamant about you have that natural birth because it's worse for you to have another C-section when you're on that medication. And this was coming from one of the top people in the profession.
But I forgot what was wrong. My blood count.
Something with, your blood cells, and you had to take medication, which would have made you bleed more, and your life was at risk. Now.
Yes.
So that's
what it was.
And it all came down to, remember, because I got super pissed about this. We're running out of time here, but they're like, you have to have that C-section because it was like Labor Day. And they were going on vacation and they didn't want to be bothered during vacation. I'm like, so you're telling me to have a C-section so you could go on vacation? I was super pissed at that doctor.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about that. But anyway, it all worked out. And I love my doctor, by the way. I loved her. That
wasn't the same doctor, though.
It was a different one.
Yeah.
It was the one that ran the place.
Yeah.
But that's why I never went to her because I didn't love her. I loved my doctor. But anyways, stuck to my guns. Then when we got there, Leighton was pretty comfortable and they had to put a balloon, I believe that's what they called it, to make me induce. And once
they give you pictures of like
the picture
a
of
cap, an Oreo cookie
of the pie chart, how your hole gets.
How large your vagina, because they're like 8 centimeters. You don't know what that is. I'm like, oh, but that's an Oreo cookie. You know, and then they show you the little pie charts of how big the vagina is going to get. I'm like, I still don't think that's enough room. How's he getting out of there?
The head's super soft. That was wild. You know what was amazing? I got to experience both. I got a C-section and a vaginal birth. And so I was very happy about that. I took a nap before I pushed Leighton out. Actually, Big Brother was on. Derek, I think, was a guest. And Julie was interviewing him. And then they came in and they're like, all right, you're ready to push. And we turned Big Brother off.
Was it Thursday night? It was. It was a live show and it was Thursday Night Football was on. I remember that too. And then we shut that off and put on Bob Marley.
Yeah, she goes, you want to put on music? We put on Bob Marley. And Leighton was 8 pounds. I didn't tear. And I think I didn't tear because after every push, she would take essential oils and massage the hole and
the cookie
and Leighton, he came out and it was, you know what the best thing was? When I was pushing, she was like, do you want to feel his head? And I looked down and I was so swollen because I was on all these fluids and I touched his head and it was so squishy. Like his head felt like it wasn't like a hard head.
It wasn't like his block head he has now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was soft, and then it was just like bloop, and then they just put him on me, and he was crying. I was like, it was so easy. And then I was up walking, and the nurse was like, you need to sit down. I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, no. You could like pass out or something happen. You have to sit down. You just pushed out the baby.
Yeah,
it was just like a good.
I know it was
a good experience. So don't be nervous. And I always say go with your gut and how you're feeling. I mean, if it was my first and I didn't know, I'd be like, okay, well, we have to do this C-section, which that would have been a bad thing because it would have been super bloody. But I just was like, no, I want to try for a vaginal birth. And it was beautiful.
Praise God.
Praise God.
All right. We went a little long there, but thank you for writing in those questions. Keep them coming. Go to togethermesspod@gmail.com. Send us in those questions. And don't forget about that live show we have coming up in November, which is this month. Get your Christmas tree up. Make sure you tune into our live show. It's on the 22nd or 21st?
The 20th.
It is?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm trying
Live show is on the 20th because I know that my birthday's the 21st.
Oh, there you go.
See?
5 p.m. Mountain Time.
That's how Jeff can remember my birthday. I should put up a Christmas tree right here. I didn't even think of that.
All right. Well, let's do it. For the next episode, we'll have some Christmas stuff up.
Yeah. There's some stuff on Amazon I saw. Like a tree, you just go broop and pull it down. It's already dressed for you.
Yes. Praise God.
All right. Bye. Yay Media Group.